Hey, what's going on, everybody? LeInvest here. Just wanted to hop on here and talk a little bit more about the trading psychology side of things, because today is Monday, October 27th, and we actually had quite an indecisive New York Open, where we saw that a lot of the indices ended up barcoding. And the reason why I felt like I wanted to make this video was just to speak to a lot of you out there that might have lost your funded account, might have lost your valuation account, or for those of you that may have just taken a losing day today. Because quite often I feel like it's talked about, but there's no true emphasis on the idea about compounding as well as the psychological side of trading. Too often or not, everybody's trying to release a new model, a new system, a new thing that they've developed somehow, which is just some variation of liquidity to liquidity. And it tends to really thin out the true education in this space. I think a lot of us are aware that there's a lot of gurus online. There's a lot of these personalities that are saying how they make $1,000 or $10,000 a day, sometimes even $100,000 a day. Or you see the YouTube video titles that are commenting, here's how I made $500,000 last week, or my $1 million week in Miami, and things like that. And I don't want to diss on any of those traders by any means, but I think that it's important to realize that for a lot of you out there, we're obviously not in those situations. A lot of you aren't at a current stage where you can afford a $500,000 week in Miami. A lot of you haven't even successfully gotten payouts. And the reality behind it is not so much that you're not experienced enough in markets. I've worked with a bunch of clients, one-on-one clients, group sessions, cohorts, you name it. And one of the biggest faults I see with trading is mastering the psychological side. The statistics are true. 70% of trading is true psychology. 30% comes down to actual technical analysis. Because at the end of the day, trading is just finding liquidity, seeing liquidity being swept, and liquidity reaching another level of liquidity where you have market orders, where institutional orders are set in. And so no matter the entry model, whether you're trading inversion fair value gaps, whether you're trading fair value gaps or change in state of deliveries, market structure shifts, order book, at the end of the day, you're just mapping out where liquidity draws are and where liquidity lies currently in an active market scenario. And so a lot of you have that technical experience, and you might just be building the market experience side to be able to spot these setups faster, to become more consistent in general with this type of trading. But the reason why I'm making this video is because I really just want to put an emphasis on the psychological side. And two specific points in this video. The first point we'll be touching on is the idea of compounding. And the second one, which I mentioned a little bit in my last video, is the idea of being okay with being in the red. And I didn't get to talk about this enough in my last video, but I think that it is seriously one that will speak to a lot of you in this video. And it starts off like this. The idea of compounding. What's the true importance of compounding? Well, it's playing it for the slow game. When we're online and we're on Twitter and we're seeing people making multiple $1,000 days, it's very easy for us to lose sight of the fact of being proud of our $10 days or our $50 days or $100 days. And instead it tends to thin that out and give us this sense of wanting more, that we need to make more money to make ourselves proud. When in reality, for some of you, you'd been unprofitable for the previous 7 months of trading. And even though you have one green month, you still doubt yourself because that one month that was green only had $50 green days. And you ask yourself, well, fuck, like I can make more money. I know I can do more. Well, don't lose sight of that. There's zero reason to lose sight of the idea of making more money, but there's no reason to rush the process. And I mentioned this in so many of my videos and in so many of my live streams, the idea of process over profits. And how does this relate to compounding? Well, if you fall in love with the process and you look at trading and you really just pay attention and hold on to the vision as to your why. Why did you start trading? What is bringing you into the scene? What is making you wake up every single day to hop on New York Open or London session or Asia session and take a trade? What is the true drive? Is it the financial freedom? Is it the idea that you can be your own boss? Is it the flexibility? Is it the idea that you just want to make yourself proud because this is such a hard industry to break through in that you really want to see if you have what it takes? And what does it truly take? It's the idea of discipline and compounding, because a lot of you here struggle to build the discipline within active markets. You see yourself get a green day, you want more. You take a red day, you want to make your red day green. Or you take a red day and your red day gets larger because you're greedy to turn that red day into a green day. And that's what really hurts a lot of you, way more than you know. And I know me saying this, you probably have heard this 1,000 times, but I just really want you to think about that for a second. And I need you to just take a step back and think about your why. What is making you want to step into the industry? What is making you wake up to take these trades? What is your true end goal? Because that's what's going to drive you through markets. That's what's going to drive you through the red days. But if you let social media and if you let these posts of $1,000 days, $100,000 weeks cloud your mind, you're going to be less proud about the smaller wins that you have. You're going to be less proud about the fact that you stuck an entire week out by following the exact same entry model, the exact same risk management model. And whether or not it was a profitable week, you should still be proud of the fact that you stuck with that model, or you stuck with that risk, or you stuck with the idea of just wanting to be consistent, because inconsistency kills. Inconsistency kills so many new traders in the scene, and I was exactly one of those people. A little bit of context on myself. I started trading in January 7th of 2019. That's the first official time I ever deposited money into a brokerage. It was E-Trade at the time. I immediately hopped into penny stock trading with real capital because I had the idea of just wanting to get rich quick. I saw it all online about people making thousands of dollars a day, and I hated working two jobs. I was working at a running shoe store and a grocery store at the same time, and I hated the idea of working two jobs. And so for myself, it became one of these drivers that my why was because I wanted that freedom for myself. I'm a triathlete and I'm a full-time engineering student. I don't have time to do physical labor for somebody who's making significantly more than me. The why for me became the fact that I loved the data. I loved the trading. I loved how methodical it was. I loved the process behind it. I loved the idea that you could be right, that your bias could be correct, and you can always fine tweak it. Right? I'm a full-time futures trader now, and still to this day, I find myself critiquing my entries because nobody's a perfect trader. You don't always have a perfect entry. You can always get better in the scene, but you can be damn well consistent, and I'm lucky that I hit that phase now. But my why was because I just wanted that freedom. I wanted the idea. I just didn't like working a retail job, two of them while a high school student, running as well, and trying to get into college for engineering. I fucking hated it. And I lost a year and a half worth of paychecks getting into penny stock trading because I let the idea of getting rich quick cloud my mind entirely. The idea that I could get rich within the next year, this is my year, this is my month. I could make a couple $1,000s this month if I just follow these penny stock trades online. And I lost a year and a half worth of paychecks. I just want you all to let that sink in for a second. I was not even 18 and I lost a year and a half worth of paychecks. And I refused to tell anybody around me until finally, obviously, my family picked up on it a little bit. And so rather than using that loss as an excuse to just give up in the trading scene, I used that loss as a reason to step back and to truly learn what trading was about outside of the get rich quick. I'm a runner. I was committed originally to run Division I in college. And so I know a lot about discipline. Showing up every day, consistently running. If you want to run a fast mile time, you can't just pick up a pair of carbon running shoes and run a sub 4 mile or a sub 5 minute mile, to say the least. It comes with the hard work and the discipline of showing up every single day to your practice, whether it's difficult, whether it's easy, whether you want to be there, whether you don't want to be there. But it's the fact of just showing up that matters way more than you know. And that's the discipline that I realized had a direct correlation into trading markets. So I stepped into options trading. And I'll do a little bit more insight on myself in another video, but stepped into options trading. And after 2.5 years of trading options, I finally built consistency. Had defined an entry model, had a couple really successful trades during the COVID era. And then I transitioned to futures, which had a very strong correlation with options and futures. Futures almost being a little easier for myself because I didn't have to worry about contract decay, so on and so forth. And now I'm a full-time futures trader. But that didn't come easy, right? That came with compounding. That came with disciplining myself to showing up to the markets every single day with a purpose of learning, a purpose of defining an entry model, a purpose of sticking with the same risk management model, because not doing that is what kills. It's the inconsistencies in your small habits. It's the inconsistencies in your big habits and your medium habits that affect you as a whole. It's not one habit that's going to kill you. It's a mix of a lot of small ones. And so I just want to say that to every single one of you watching this video, because I think there's a lot of importance with that. I think there's a lot of importance in just sitting back and realizing your why, realizing that discipline is what's truly going to drive you through these markets, showing up every day, but showing up with a purpose. If you just show up to the charts to take a trade and you take a trade, it's a winner loser, you don't even care about it, you don't back test it, you don't journal that trade, and you just move on to the next day, you're not going to learn. You're not going to build consistency as a trader. It's the showing up every single day that's going to matter more to you than anything else. And it's what worked with me. It's what's worked with many other people, many other traders, and many other clients. So I just want to make that clear to a lot of you, because I feel like you definitely lose sight of that when you get clouded by this social media and this idea to just be successful quick and to be successful young. Please, by all means, shoot for that goal, but don't shoot for it overnight. Build the discipline, build the consistency of showing up every single day, writing your goals on a weekly basis or a daily basis or a monthly, bi-monthly, yearly, you name it. And I can guarantee you're going to make yourself proud. So now my next point, the idea of accepting a red day. I talked about this a little bit in my last video, but I think this is truly an important thing that a lot of you need to realize. Many of you show up to markets with the intention of making money. We all do. I do. I wake up every morning with the intention of ending a day green because I'm delusional about it. I'm delusional about staying consistent in markets. But you have to realize that markets don't move for you. Markets move for markets. Markets move for institutions. Markets move for whales. But markets don't move for the average retail trader like yourself or like myself. And so you need to play alongside these institutions, but sometimes your entry model, your psychology, and even external factors in your life inhibit you from being able to build consistency or inhibit you from just having a winning day some days in market. Even to this day, as a full-time trader, I have break-even weeks. I have red weeks. I have green weeks. I also have red days. And that's a reality that you have to accept, because every setback can kind of be considered as though it's some market tuition before you have a larger green day. Every losing trade, every time you take a loss, every time you take a red trade or a red day or a red week, that's a learning curve if you truly spend the time to learn as to why you might be failing. And I just really want to put an emphasis on that, because not enough of you really spend the time to realize the mistakes behind your red days, your red trades. And a lot of you can't even fathom ending a day red. And so you continue to trade. You open up your chart in New York Open, you slam a contract, and you're down $300 in the day. And let's say the market does not present your entry model for the rest of the day. Yet you still find an excuse on a different entry model or a different criteria to enter a trade, because what if? What if I can turn that red day into a green day? What if I can turn my red day into a break-even day? And then I know for many of you watching this video, you've taken that red day during a lucky trade and you've taken it to break even. But now you see it at break even and you look at your P&L the past 2 days and you go, well, shit, I could make this break-even day into a green day. So let me just take one more trade. And for some of you, you take that one more green trade and you close out the account for the day. Congratulations, you gambled your way to a green day. And for some of you, you take that one more trade and that trade goes against you. Or you size in heavier on that trade because now that you're break even, I could see myself get a bigger green day because it's basically that I'm break even on the day. So you size in significantly more only to take an even bigger loss than you had before, rather than just quitting at break even because you were already lucky to bring it back to your break even standpoint. So I really just want to emphasize this with all of you, that if you cannot accept a red day, you do not by any means deserve a green day. You don't deserve a green day, you don't deserve a green week, a green month, or a green year. Obviously, if you're having a green year, I'd assume you're a profitable trader. But for a lot of you newer traders out there, the reason why I say it's so important to stick with one entry criteria and to master that entry criteria and to master the risk behind that entry criteria is because you will learn from your mistakes a lot easier. If you're constantly switching entry models, there's inconsistencies in your entries. There's inconsistencies with your defined risk. There's inconsistencies with every side of trading when you're switching your model, right? It's like playing hopscotch in the market. And so if you're not consistent with an entry model, how can you be consistent in journaling? How can you be consistent in realizing your mistakes? Because new mistakes will arise. You're going to continue to take different mistakes because you're using a different entry model or different risk or different size depending on the model too. And that's what's really hurting you. So I really just want to put an emphasis on that, because you need to just spend the time to sit down and to realize the criteria in an active market that sends you off. What causes you as a trader to say, I'm not going to trade these markets? If you take one bad trade or two bad trades and you just lock out the account, because tomorrow's a new day. And that's what's going to help you build the consistency, and especially for a lot of you newer traders out there. But if you don't do that, I'm really sorry to say this, but you're not going to build consistency. You might get lucky with a payout or two, but the second you score that payout, you're probably going to blow that funded, or you're probably going to get liquidated on a personal account. And I don't mean to be harsh about this, I just mean to be real, because I was in the exact same position as many of you. I've blown accounts, I've blown funded accounts, I've blown payouts the day before a payout, right? Because my $100 a day minimum or my $200 a day minimum, well, what if I make it $1,000 a day and then I just get a bigger payout on my last day? So those are the two things I really wanted to cover in this video, was the idea of discipline and the idea of discipline, consistency, and being able to accept a red day. Because a lot of you struggle on all three of those aspects. But truly, I think one of the most beautiful things you can do for yourself is to find discipline in all aspects of your life. Pick up that sport you've been wanting to try. Get on those runs. Stay consistent with one or stay consistent with a couple habits every day. Because I guarantee if you can prove to yourself that you can stay consistent with those things, you will be able to stay consistent with an entry model. You will be able to stay consistent with risk in trading, because the mental fortitude transfers into other areas of your life. But if you can't build discipline in your day-to-day life, you're not going to build consistency in trading. And especially in trading, because there's a lot of the externalities, the financial stress, and many, many, many other individual factors that go into making you a profitable trader. So that's what I wanted to cover on this video. And I really do believe in every single one of you watching this, right? I really believe that all of you can become a profitable trader if you just make the switch, make the psychological switch. Make yourself proud. We've got 2 months left of 2025 before we transition to 2026. Start setting those goals. Make yourself proud to end off 2025 and transition into 2026 building those new habits. But other than that, guys, I'm proud of you. Let's make this shit happen. And I'll see you guys all for some future videos. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon.